It's October, and October is Calypso History Month, acknowledging the art form, recognizing the greatness that we have right here in the nation. We kicked it off with one of the best, Progress, written by Joker, performed by King Austin. And we continue celebrating our rich culture with a composition by our next Calypso mastermind, Christoph Grant. In an Express 2021 article by Michael Mondesi, he is quoted as the man with the golden pen, an attorney by profession. The former presentation college student has a knack for capturing the nation's pulse with some of the most clinically composed, patriotic and evocative calypsos. Now leaving by Denise Plummer, that is Christoph Grant's work. Voices from the Ghetto, singing Sandra. Song of Healing, singing Sandra. For Whom the Bell Tolls, Ancient Rhythms, all by singing Sandra. Many other classics. We want to start, of course, by paying homage to this scribal genius. We thank you, Christoph, for your contributions. And today, we're going to take some moments to talk about one of my favorite nation-building / nation-recovering calypso songs. Where's the Poetry in True Colors, performed by Singing Sandra, written by Christoph Grant. Singing Sandra was undoubtedly one of our greats, stirring emotion with a visceral shouter-Baptist chanting and genuine appeals to the nation. The song does make me feel the cry. Big man thing, boy. Big man don't cry, but when a calypso could small it down, small down all that ego, you know it's real serious. So what are the techniques that Grant used to deliver this masterpiece on page before Singing Sandra made it into a classic on stage? By the way, hey, the poetry analysis going good, but you know else will go real good seeing me live on stage, November the 20th to the 30th at the Central Bank Auditorium. Put it in the comments or send a DM. You tell them you want to come to Borderlines Bucket List. That is my show, spoken word poetry at its best. See you there. If there's a studio recording of this song that exists anywhere, please let me know. I need to find the studio version. Someone help me, please. Put it in the comments. Facebook, you know they're bad in finding the comments. By the way, big up Guanari Blogspot. Whoever made that blog or whoever owned that blog made life easier. They transcribed many of the songs that have little to no internet archiving. So, madam, whoever you are, you're a national hero. The part you ain't get right, I go try to get right. The part me ain't get right, I go lean on you to get it. So the name of the song is True Colors, and it uses the national colors to set up metaphors to present the circumstances of Trinidad and Tobago and why there must be an urgency to rebuild our nation. The song is written in 4 verses, each verse 16 lines each, and it uses that red, white and black colors theme expansively and maintains a rich poetic quality to advance the story. Of course, when you're writing based on a theme, you don't want to be spinning top in mud talking about the same thing over and over and over. So, let me start the vibes. Tell me what you all notice here. Now, this is not the order of the lines, but I took all the colors, I paired them together, like example, red with red, white with white, black with black. Look it on the screen here. Tell me what you all notice. Red is the power of my people's passion, nice alliteration. Look at the next red. Red is the blood flowing like a river. Seen anything there yet? Look at it here again. White. White was the dove that had long flown. Then white again, our faces blanched and shivering with fear. Then we on to black. Black is the oil, the substance that keeps us vibrant for the bitter harvest we have always sown. Black is the mood of my sister's anger. So these lines were in the same verse but at different points in the verse. So you recognize what happening. The song first presents the positive nature of the colors. We get a nice red, a nice white, a nice black. Then in the 4th line the mood shifts. And the stark and stunning reality of the dark side of our nation is revealed. They pull back the curtain. And of course, all of these lines are metaphoric, directly comparing something to something else. Plenty poetry points right there. So the metaphors themselves have a dual meaning due to this skill that he's using here called contrast. Red being passion, but red also being blood. Contrast. That also creates a certain level of irony, because one wonders how could the positive passion turn so negative, turn into meaning something else. I want to talk about the line 4 shift 2. Now look at the song in order now. Red is the power of my people's passion. White was the dove that had long flown, a sign of hope. Black is the oil, a substance that keeps us vibrant. Then watch the volta right here. For the bitter harvest we have always sown. For the bitter harvest we have always sown. Watch that, that's a sweet. Watch that line. Black is the oil, the substance that keeps us vibrant. By keeping us vibrant for what? For the bitter harvest that we have always sown. That, my friends, is the volta that sets up the rest of the song. There's real power in that line because you have the metaphor, of course. Black is the oil that keeps us vibrant. You have the paradox, it keeps us vibrant, but we're not vibrant for vibes. We're vibrant for a bitter harvest. We have the energy to reap the bitterness. Right? That sets up the grim nature of the song. There's irony, of course, paradox closely related to irony, etc., etc. However, alongside the grimness, we are asked to build it back piece by piece, every chorus. And if we don't see this grim side, the reality is we'll have no motivation to really build it back. But that line hard like banga, boy. Also check the vocabulary range in the whole song. Blanched, fumbling, regain, contortion, embryo, affliction, desperation, depraved, wanton, and it goes on. If you run this through Grammarly, you'll get real unique words. His unique word score will be high, right? And while there are unique words, the tightness of the theme makes everything understandable. So even if you don't know the meaning of every single word in the song, you're still following the narrative. Verse 2 is more of the same thing, metaphor and storytelling, as images are clearly presented. It's almost as if you're watching an album. Girls in their wedding, seeing the red roses. But pause that, here comes the volta. The undertaker arrives, another picture. Also note the level of detail in the contrast. Watch these lines. White are their dresses on their wedding day. White dress on the wedding day. Black coat tails of the undertaker. Two types of garments existing side by side. Watch now, this song is a master class in contrast. White dresses for wedding versus black coattails of the undertaker. The endless dichotomy of Trinbagonian existence. We have a beautiful place to call home, but we know we're dealing with some darkness too. In that stanza, we also have some dialogue in there as we hear the cry of the child, and singing Sandra deliver that. She delivered that on point, boy, on point. Check this couplet here. This part of the song, I don't know where's my favorite, boy, that black part or this part. Sorry for embryo, oh God, embryo, forced to perform weird contortions to escape the dread abortions of life. First embrace Christoph. What are you doing? My friends, here we have the picture of an unborn child embryo ducking, and she's doing it when she performed to it, ducking. She ducking the doctor who trying to abort it and stop it from experiencing life's first embrace. What hyperbole and metaphor. What a way to give life to the unborn. Abortion, the word, also operates as a pun kind of way, as in abortion, the process of abortion, and abortion as in the abandonment of life's first embrace, like you aborted from that. This song is at 10. I 10 early before we done. We ain't even reached verse 3. This song is already at 10. Also like the last two lines too. I want to fly, fly, fly as those swallows do at winter. As my people sit on something on this coast of Greece. Swallows flying at winter, that is a nice simile, but the winter itself also represents the absence of warmth and love in TNT. And if you go a few lines back to the top, what she say? While our sunlights fade. So our sunlights fade and we turn into a winter, so she want to be like that swallow flying away. So the continuity in the imagery and the choice of metaphors is masterful. And don't forget the coast of race. Well, as I say, I think I say it's coast. As my people sit and probably splinter or something on this coast of race. That is what it seemed like to me. If it is, again, we get in the use of nature as the vehicle for the metaphors, and contrast to the swallows escaping compared to we quarreling about race. Swallows escape, them escaping, we sit down there on the coast soaking in race banter. Right? That verse was heights, and I hope I get excited. I hope all you understand some of us. Verse 3. Red being representative of the red light district, as she introduces prostitution as an answer to a desperate circumstance, another thing in the dark side of Trinidad, human trafficking, all them kind of mad things. But there's also some historical allusion. Remember, allusion is when you're reaching out and drawing reference, pointing at something else. Here, black is the fist raising cheap or steep rebellion. Since 1970, we come up empty. So if she's saying it cheap, then it suggests that the efforts of 1970 were somewhat futile, as we kind of in the same stupid position today. But if she's saying steep rebellion, it shows that the fight has been ongoing, and the evidence presented in the verse suggests that we didn't come up with much, but it's ongoing. So that is why I couldn't decide what word it was, steep or cheap, or they could beat it up in the comments and tell me. However, these rebellions and revolutions seem to lead to further alienation. As such, there's a call for cleansing rain, nice metaphor, and a hint that real retribution comes from God and we need to be repaid or fairly compensated by the colonial powers. How do I know it's colonial powers? Because there's a next historical allusion here. See if you're finding it. Children, bolo, bolo, bolo for the hand of retribution, or a fairer distribution of Henry Morgan gold. When a song had a send in Google, that's when you know the heights up there. Who is Henry Morgan? He's a man who wreaked havoc on the Caribbean in the 17th century. Sucked the place dry and thief out everything. And Henry Morgan now is like the synecdoche, the symbol for all colonialism. Right? So she like used part, she just used one man to represent the whole of colonialism and the fact that they stripped the Caribbean of riches. And it's time for we to get back some. It's time for we to get some fairness, man. Give them more reparations. And here the thing about Henry Morgan, when you read up on the history and thing, the man commit one set of crime and you know what they punish him and do? They give him a high rank. Injustice was never done, boy. Never done. However, this demonstrates Christoph's strong historical knowledge and the ability to incorporate post-colonial discourse on stage. Post-colonial, we know that is a theory, but it also refers to the time and place after colonialism. So we get the overall grimness, we get the history. Auntie Sandra, what do you do in the last verse? You know, Christoph introduced specific incident. I learned this from our good friend Peter Khan from Chicago. And this is using one particular story to craft your narrative, one particular space and time. And this is what happens in the first half of verse 4. The story seems to be about a very particular incident involving a Stanley Haywood. Sad news, I didn't find out anything about it. I didn't see much online. I didn't really look for long because I had this video to shoot. But all you know, all you bad in the comments. So let me know who Stanley Haywood is. But according to the story, he locked up his children and set them on fire. And the writing then takes us out of that harrowing image to picture an ibis flying and egrets. Look, we have hope within it, but then bam, straight back to the Kobo circling over our chaos. Beautiful line again. So that was a nice cap to the whole Stanley Haywood experience there and telling of that very gruesome story. The last 8 lines in that verse give us fresh air and a reminder that we must build the nation. The chorus itself is a metaphor, physical building, brick, mortar, brick by brick. It represents the strength, effort, and togetherness needed in rebuilding the nation. This song is a clear 10 for me on the poetry scale. There's the poetry in true colors, written by Christoph Grant and performed by Singing Sandra. Remember to like and subscribe if you appreciated the content, and if there's some text that you want us to analyze, just drop it in the comments below. We'll get it and find out where's the poetry.